Yeah.
Great day when it's
Councillor Mick Mathers. Welcome our Mayor, Councillor Adrian Borden. Our Deputy Mayor, Captain Charlie Smith. Our Chief Officer, Mrs. Sarah Hayden. Can I call Pastor Bob Holcraft to say a prayer to start our meeting, please? Thank you.
Father God, I thank you. I thank you for all the police servants in this room that want the best for this town. And I just pray that you will bless them. I pray that this meeting will be one that is one of peace, where any decision that's got to be made today can be made through thorough discussion and with the welfare of this town at heart. We pray for this town. We pray for the prosperity of this town in common good. We pray for the police. We pray for the NHS working in this town. We pray for those working in businesses and banks. You will bless, uphold, and take this town forward for the common good of these people. Pray a blessing on this meeting. Jesus. Amen.
I'd like to read the disclaimer concerning the recording of the meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Biddulph Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that decision making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of our community in local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you are consenting to being recorded and for your image to be added to YouTube. The images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and do not necessarily reflect the view of Biddulph Town Council. Please view the Guidance on Recording in Public Meetings policy if you need more information. I'd like to declare this meeting of Biddulph Town Council open. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before we start, is there any chance we can turn the noise from behind us? Or the blower?
Blower.
Blower's on that side. Is that the one that's...
It sounds as if it's coming from here, wherever it's coming from.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Better. Thank you.
And before we start of the proceedings fully, I'd just like to remind people that attendees will be named in the minutes if they speak, unless otherwise instructed. So if you want to speak as an attendee and don't want to be named in the minutes, please say so. And now we come to the first item for tonight, item number 67, public participation. And tonight, we've got a rather special event for public participation. And the visitors at the back know all about this. And I should like Kelsey now to join me at the front of the dais. Please. Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure this evening to recognise and celebrate the achievements of someone who has become a valued member of our town council team, Kelsey. Kelsey's journey with the council began some years ago when she first joined us during her year 10 work experience placement. Even at that early stage, she showed enthusiasm commitment, and a genuine interest in the work we do. She returned again in year 12, and it was then that Kelsey decided an apprenticeship might be the right path for her. In 2022, Kelsey officially joined the council to complete her level 2 customer service apprenticeship, which she completed with a distinction. An excellent achievement. Not content to stop there, she went on to complete her level 3 business administration qualification, which she successfully passed at the end of November 2025. I'm delighted to say that following these achievements, Kelsey has now joined us as a permanent member of the team. Throughout her time with the council, she has been hardworking, professional, and a real credit to herself and the organisation. Kelsey, we are incredibly proud of everything you have achieved. And we are delighted to present you with your apprenticeship completion certificate this evening. And here it is.
Thank you.
You are a fantastic example of how apprenticeships can create real opportunities. And we are very lucky to have you as part of our team. Congratulations and very well done. Flowers to accompany with the kit. Well done, Kelsey.
Can I have a photo, please?
Ah.
Photo duty.
Want me to help?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, the grass with us.
Yeah.
And then you take it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, Calvin.
Well done, Calvin.
You did.
In connection with that, Councillor Rogers, as I believe he was on the team that appointed Kelsey, has something to say.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you regard sector relevant anyway for bringing forward to this part of the meeting, please. Chief Officer Amstelford and myself interviewed Kelsey a few weeks ago. There's a lot of tough questions that we put forward to her, and she answered them in a very professional way. We're very impressed with the answers that she put back with. Some of the questions weren't easy, and the enthusiasm was amazing, really. As the Mayor said, she's always been on the ball, she's always keen to learn, and she's liked by the public, she's liked by the members of staff that work for her. So we're very pleased to offer 22 hours a week at this moment in time to be reviewed in 3 months' time, which I'm sure there'll be no issues. As a customer support assistant, that's mainly on the front desk, but she's keen to work with any members of staff and, promote herself in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Jackson, just quickly.
Councillor Jackson, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. When the Mayor said, Kelsey, that you become a permanent member of the team, that didn't mean for your lifetime. You're free to leave at any time that you want. I'm sure that's not what. But it's really good to see a young person get on, and to do it without a student debt at the end of it, which is obviously a really big plus. And I'm sure it's not the end of your learning time. You're still very young. There's still a heck of a lot to learn out there. That job that you do down the front, you are the face, along with Sue, of this town council. You interact with the general public. Sometimes they are lovely, and sometimes they're not quite so lovely, and you take that in your stride. It is a real pleasure for you to be part of this team and part of a tremendous team, as you well know, of staff that we're lucky enough to have here at the town hall. So welcome on board. Unfortunately, I personally will not be around for many more years, but I'm sure there are faces around this table that will be. And we'll be here to see you on your journey. So again, best luck for the future, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Wood, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as Councillor Rogers alluded to, I was part of the team that interviewed Kelsey for the job, and her enthusiasm is boundless in terms of how she wants to move forward with her own career, but also help others. So I personally would like to thank Kelsey and welcome her on board as part of the professional team as we are. And I'm sure she's going to have a long and a real dedicated career in public service. And we are the first steps of that as a town council. And I'm sure there will be opportunities in the future where you'll want to move forward, and that's only right, and you progress yourself. But welcome on board, Kelsey, and you're a massive addition to this council.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And that very enjoyable, if I may say so, item was one item under Agenda 67. The other item is our regular visitors from Staffordshire Police. Tonight we have got PCSO Scott Parry and Georgina Cantrell with us, please. Over to you.
Again, as every time we here, any questions, straight off the bat, obviously, we have a little bit of time as we need to be out there.
So Jackson.
Yeah, very, very, very quickly. Over the Christmas period, it has been rung in twice, I think, over the Christmas. It's the issue of the 4x4s, the quad bikes up on Church Road playing fields. I mean, one day there was 9 trail bikes. 9. Now, to me, that's been organised. Somehow or other, these 9 people have used what form of communication or whatever to all meet up there at the same time. Now, there must be some way of intelligence actually working this out. I rang it in as soon as I saw it. I 999'd it and say there was 9. The football pitch is getting churned up. The quad bike in particular, seems to have a lot of enjoyment about holding the front brake and revving the back wheels and, chaining it up. So it's causing damage up there. It's football season as well. The local football teams are using it. So I can just, and I know it's not easy, really difficult, I know, but I do think if a bit more intelligence was put into it, and maybe a drone or whatever, that there would be a way of getting hold of these trail bikes and actually confiscating, which I know you've got the power to do, if you can find out where they've come from and get all the evidence. So all I can ask is implore that we do try. I mean, I don't know, I think I must have rung it in 20, 25 times over the last 18 months or so. So it's not as though the police don't know it's happening, you do. So all I can ask is, and please put whatever resources you can to try and stamp it out. Thank you.
So in regards to that, all information, all logs, all reports are logged. Every time a report comes in about a motorbike, an off-road bike, a quad bike, they're all logged on what's called an intelligence system, as you've just suggested. They're also logged on what's called Orb Tracker, Orb meaning off-road bikes. So all that information goes into our road policing team. It's then correlated onto a map, and then they come out. That's when the plane comes out and the helicopter. Very rarely the helicopter now, but the fixed wing aircraft that comes out. Again, I can only but apologise. Our policy states that we can't pursue.
Yeah,
in regards to catching the suspect, so to speak. It's difficult because they're clued up in regards to hiding their identity, they're all balaclaved on, dark clothes, etc. We see them regularly. We had one come past us this afternoon doing this. What can we do? I come back on intel. I make sure our control room are aware that there are bikes, so be aware that there might be calls coming in. However, like I say, it is booked, everything's logged, and all intelligence goes over to the road priority.
Okay, I know it's difficult, but thanks for your efforts. Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Yates, please.
Yes, thank you. Yes, good evening. On a similar vein, really. It's happening throughout the town. I've been very saddened walking down Paul's Road, the grass area which goes into Field View. There's people on electric bikes been doing donuts, and they've absolutely dug it up. We've got Station Road here, the gardens opposite the Victoria Centre, and they are absolutely covered in churned up motorcycle tyre things. They do it electric bikes, and more. If you can say more alarmingly, but for the welfare of the actual kids who only know how dangerous it is when something serious happens, is they were riding up the bypass on the pavement, no lights on, pitch black, balaclavas on. You could barely see them, you can't hear them. Something serious and significant is going to happen. Now, they aren't riding them all the time. I've seen them. I've seen kids on these bikes, which are illegal bikes when it's all said and done. They should not be on the road. Stopping, parking up outside a shop and nipping into a shop. Well, I do think with, decent coverage, there should be plenty of opportunities of stopping and confiscating because they're illegal bikes, full stop.
Then we need to be in the right place.
I know you do. And obviously the one I saw on the bypass, 12 the back's very limited what you can do. He was 20 yards ahead on the other side by the time I crossed over to potentially say something is 50, 60 yards ahead.
We have had intelligence saying that they're coming down the tracks from Congleton, they're coming down the tracks from the city. A lot of them are local, and they're going back the same ways. We get a lot of calls in regards to the tracks when they're coming off at Newpool Road, they're coming off at Halls Road. So we are aware.
The case, please.
I'm sure there are a lot of challenges for our local police to handle, but may I use this opportunity just to express my deep gratitude for two incidences. One is at my own house at the end of November, midnight, there was a drunk man banging on my door and moving to the window and trying to get in, swearing, clearly very scary. I don't know who that was. And through the ring doorbell, I can see. And I rang 999, and thankfully our local police came around within 10 minutes, and they found the drunk man lying on the ground outside my house. It turned out that he found the wrong house. Thank God that he was rescued. I think without the local police, he might be frozen to death. It was a very cold night, but thank you for the local police. You responded to my call really quickly. And yeah, I was certainly very scared. And so thank you for the rescue. And another instance is that my local church, we had aggressive, potentially physically aggressive man came, and we weren't very sure how to handle, and just for safeguarding purposes, we contacted our local council and a local police pop around very quickly as well and help us to deal with the situation. So I just want to say thank you very much. I think you have done some great job as well. Thank you.
Thank you for those positive comments, Councillor. Councillor Garvey now, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've asked for a couple of issues to be brought up if you could actually on them. There have been a number of break-ins and attempted break-ins in Biddles. I believe that there have been arrests made. Could you possibly give us an update on the situation with regard to that, and whether or not you believe that the perpetrators of the incidents in Biddle are now safely in custody?
Yes, we believe they are. We've arrested, I believe, 5 or 6, and there are 3 of them have been charged. So hopefully.
And they're remanded in custody. Also, it's carrying on. So those that have been released are being looked at by officers at the moment. And they've also put patrols, mainly in the mornings when it's going on. So a lot of these bobbies are starting at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, up until 1 o'clock that day. So they've changed the shifts to accommodate when these are going out and causing the crime in Biddulph, because it has been violated Biddulph with it, unfortunately.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the reassurance.
On top of that, there is a red route for the proactive team. That's the team that George was on about.
And we've also gone out and spoke to a lot of the residents and what they can do in regards to keeping that property safe. So we've been along, Woodhouse where there's 2 cars gone. We went where the older people are that have had break-ins, just to say, certain things about the key safes, because that's how they're getting in. So the key safes at the side of houses, you just break them off and get the key and in they go. It's not necessarily the older people, it's the younger ones who leave them out for the kids after school. And that's how a lot of these cars have gone. So if there is any of you with key safes, I'd look at getting the alternatives, which are pretty much indestructible. The old ones.
The buttons, yeah, there is one. I'll have a look into it and I'll send the email out. There is one that is virtually indestructible, but it has to be fitted to a wall using, I think they're called concrete bolts, as opposed to wall plugs and screws. So crowbar behind them, they're just pulling them out through the wall plugs. I will send some information out to.
That would be very useful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so I'd like to echo Councillor Casey's thanks for the work you've been doing, particularly in this area, because I know there are a lot of people who are very concerned about it, particularly in the older community. The second issue is with regard, we have brought to our attention the issue regarding antisocial behaviour motorists along Lawton Street and Wells Street reoccurred. We had a major issue, I think, a couple of years ago that you increased patrols in that area that seemed to quieten it down. Is there any work you can do on that area that would address this area?
Yeah, we can look at doing something there.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Are there any other points, please? Yes, of course, the Deputy Mayor.
Just on the point of the break-ins, one of the things that I just wanted to ask, and I know that you do have active teams looking at social media and things, but particularly on some of the Biddulph groups, there's been some posts regarding some intelligence that I don't know whether it's been passed to you directly about a lot of it being advertised on TikTok, what they're doing.
We are well aware.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up.
The intelligence team seem to be very up on the social media side of things, especially TikTok, Snapchat. Yeah.
I wouldn't know what I was doing on TikTok. So, crime networks working over TikTok, it just baffles me, but it's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the second thing was just regarding the drop locks for the keys.
Yeah.
Are you able to put something on Staffordshire Smart Alert just with maybe some pictures of what appropriate ones look like or some examples? Because I know myself, I'll be looking to replace the one that I've got at home, and it's not something that I've even really thought of. So I think it'd be really handy information for a lot of people.
I mean, we were quite surprised when we went out. We did a lot of door to door, especially Biddulph Mall, and I was especially quite shocked that a lot of the residents felt like that it wasn't necessary to phone the police. Someone walking down the street at 2:30, but they've already gone, so it didn't matter. And we're trying to encourage, if it doesn't feel right, just phone the police. It doesn't matter what time, that's what we're here for, just phone the police. If it's the next morning, just phone the police. If you want to say, no one should be wandering around at 2 o'clock in the morning, wearing a balaclava for a dark private, phone 999. You are not going to get shouted at phoning the police. We're trying to illiterate this a lot to residents, especially in malls.
Just further to that, a lot of those key safes, saying that the kids come in, but a lot of them are for carers accessing to support people that have got care and support needs. So I don't know whether there's some work to be done working with adult social care in the local area, just to kind of reiterate some safety points.
I spoke to our social care team in regards to it as well.
We did go. We literally went everywhere. The following day, when there was some burglaries up where the elderly residents, and we did speak to carers who were going to speak to family members about changing locks because they were quite worried about it, which is understandable. Yeah, we will do. We'll put something else.
I mean, if you residents, taking the key safe boxes, residents aren't even noticing, and they aren't always taking it, breaking it, burgling the house that day. They're watching out looking out, figuring out patterns, and then going back. So it is quite scary.
Because if you're the person that's receiving the care and support, you won't be the one using the box,
Yeah.
but you don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if that's the case now, can we thank you both, Officers Parry and Cantrell, for your time tonight?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Right.
Yeah. Oh.
We now turn to agenda item 68. Receive an update from County Council representatives. I'm informed by the Chief Officer that both the representatives, County Councillor Mike Broom and County Councillor Bob Eggington, were invited again to our meeting tonight. She has received from Councillor Eggington, on behalf of the both of them, apologies for absence. Don't think there's any more.
No, they've got other commitments this evening.
Other commitments this evening.
Advising them about future dates.
Yes, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Well, at least we've got an apology for absence, which is more than we had last time. But and I didn't know about the apology. It looked to me that they just hadn't turned up again, but it gores me a little bit, being a resident of Biddle Feast, which is Bob Eggington's division, and Biddle South, that he's put his name down to stand as a councillor for Brown Edge. Now, if he's got the time to be a councillor in Brown Edge, then surely you'd think he could spend time to represent the people of Biddle Feast and Biddle South. And just, a word of warning for the electors of Brown Edge. If his attendance at Brown Edge Parish Council is anything like his attendance when we've asked him to come here, perhaps his ability to be a town council or a parish councillor perhaps needs to be looked at. But it's really galling that somebody that can't be bothered to come here puts the name forward to be a parish councillor within the Staffordshire Moors. I just find it really, really quite upsetting, really, that a resident of Biddle Feast being treated with what I believe is contempt.
Thank you for that. Just briefly, Councillor Wood, please, and then we'll move on from this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, and reiterate really what Councillor Jackson has said. But the fact is that they are representatives of the Biddulph residents, and Biddulph residents deserve at least some information being fed back. Now, if I was a county councillor, which I'm not, and no intention of being, but if I was a councillor who should really report to the council on issues that have gone on in their ward or their patch, you would have thought they'd have done a written report to us to say, this is what I've dealt with or have not. And the issue is, I just seem as if they can't be bothered. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion, is they can't be bothered. They should be here in attendance in person. Now, I don't know what other priorities they have, but priorities above Biddulph Town Council, there can't be that many of them. And therefore, if they can't come, then put a written report in. Just seems as if they just can't be bothered. They're in a cosy place and nothing's, we're criticising them left, right and centre as a town council for not attending, not because, we're miles apart on the politics, but they should be here doing a job and they're not. So the thing is, they should now, start looking at themselves and the whole issue of reporting back, just send an email or some kind of correspondence to say, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but we're getting nothing.
No, I rather think that this issue will be heard again in the future. But tonight, I'm afraid that's as much time as we can devote to it. I believe this by-election is on Thursday this week at Brown Edge, isn't it? Yes. We await results with interest. Thank you. Thank you for that. We move to 69, please. Apologies for absence at this meeting tonight, please.
Thank you, Councillor Norris Lawton, Salt Parks, Hiziki and Hart.
Thank you. And now, item 70, declarations of interest. Does anyone have any disclosable pecuniary interests and dispensations to declare? No. Secondly, does anyone wish to declare any other disclosable interests? As always, if you find that as the proceedings continue, you are involved in a declaration, then please say so at the time, would you please? Moving on to 71, going on to minutes now. And the first one is to approve and sign minutes of last council meeting, town council meeting, which was held on the 11th of November. As usual, I'll go through the paragraph numbers and please stop if you feel there's an issue with it. Paragraph 56, paragraph 57, 58, 59, 60, A and B, 61, A, B, C, D and E, 62, 63, 64, A, B, C, 65, 66. I think that's it, isn't it? 66. May I have a proposal, please, that we accept the minutes to record? Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Jackson. So, ACR.
To vote, Chair.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, a vote, please. Yeah. Isn't it today? You. We now move on to the next one, which I think are the minutes of the Recreation and Amenities Committee. Is the next one for us to consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
Held on the 11th of November. Once again, I will go through these by paragraph number. 46, 47, 48, A and B, 49, 50, A, B, and 51. And these minutes have already been accepted, haven't they? So,
No, but they'll get accepted at the next committee. So you
next
just need to
committee.
receive.
So we're simply receiving these tonight.
Proposal a second.
May I have a proposer to receive these, please? Thank you. Deputy Mayor. The seconder, Councillor Rogers, thank you.
Just maybe, that's a plan, it's on anyway, so that's fine, but thank you.
No, just one slight correction on 50B. It says Bodley Brook instead of Bosley Brook. That's fine.
I vote. Right.
Much more chat.
So those amendments considered now. We move on to the
vote, please, Chair.
sorry, a vote. Yes, vote for acceptance. Thank you. Moving on now to minutes of the Planning Committee.
Move those minutes. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. November. The paragraphs to consider are 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, and 52. Are there any points to be made? They've been moved. A seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Yates. Vote in favour, acceptance. Thank you. Now, minutes of the Town and Community Committee held on Tuesday the 18th of November.
Jack, can I move those minutes, please?
Yes, Councillor Garvey, thank you. So, starting with the first paragraph, item 43, 44, 45, 46A and B and C and D. 47, 48, 49, 50. Confidential item 51. 51. So, is there a seconder for these, please? Because if you moved them, haven't you? So, will someone second? Thank you, Councillor Yates. And those in favour of acceptance? Thank you. And now, the last set of minutes, the minutes of the Finance and Strategy and Management Committee meeting on the 25th of November. Yes, Councillor Rogers, thank you. The first paragraph is 67, 68, 69, 70, A, B, C, 71, 72, 73, 74, A and B, confidential items, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, A, B, and C. Any points? Yes, Councillor Hawley.
Second.
Which second? Thank you. May we then have a vote, please? Thank you. So, get the date right. Improving. You. So that concludes tonight's agenda, item 71, the minutes. Now we come to item 72, which is the Mayor's communications. And I have, obviously, communications myself, also one on behalf of Councillor Parks. Found it. Yeah, the end. Right. The Mayor's communications. This is for the period since the last council meeting in the earlier part of November. So it will concern events later in the month of November and in December, and a fairly recent one too. And here goes. Later in November, I attended 2 more events in the town centre. The first of these was the Christmas market held at the Victoria Centre, in which the High Sheriff, Timothy Gillow, attended. So it was a relatively high-profile Christmas market, and that was one of the events. The second event was high-profile in every regard. It was a Christmas light switch-on. The Mayor was very pleased that 3 young ladies, Isabella, Sophia and Maeva, were on hand to assist him with this important task. Once the lights were lit, the key event in the eyes of many young people was the arrival of Father Christmas. Santa was introduced, made welcome, and then shown to his grotto, where he worked hard to see the long queue of young people who wished to make their request for Christmas presents. And that was the second, the end of November. This brings us to December, and another 10 events I was pleased to attend. Once again, most of these were in the Biddulph area, which shows what a rich range of activities takes place in the town. Indeed, there were many more, in addition to those which I attended. So put them together, and there's a lot going on. The first of these was a switch-on of Christmas lights at the Rose and Crown at Biddulph Moor. And, busy man though he was, sank on time to attend this too. Also held that evening was the Northern Soul event in the town hall. This was the latest in a series of these, which I think it's fair to say appeal nowadays very much to the young in heart. And all the better if you're also still at the gain of foot. I was invited to the Guides Campfire Sing-Along and Awards evening at the town hall. It was most enjoyable, and I was sorry that being under the weather at that time, I was unable to present the awards as had been planned. Young people also featured prominently in the next event, which was held at the high school. This was one of several theatrical shows organised by Staged, and their performance was a credit to all concerned. Later that evening, I went to the Christmas concert by the Biddulph and District Community Orchestra, which was held at the Victoria Centre. They were excellent. They seemed to be going from strength to strength. Next, Biddulph History Society, of which I am a member, invited me to thank the speaker at their Christmas meeting, as it was our own town crier, John Robinson, who talked about the 30 or so years in this honorary role, which helps to promote the town so much. Next came 2 more concerts, which differed greatly, but gave equal pleasure both to those who attended and those who took part. Firstly, the Roches School held their Christmas concert in the school's hall. It's amazing how they managed to accommodate all the performers and equipment on their modest stage. But once again, they achieved it, to present a range of contemporary songs performed with talent and commitment. The other concert was intentionally something different. Staffordshire Moorlands District Chair and Town Councillor, Adam Parks, sorry, he's not with us tonight, arranged for the Phoenix Singers to present A Christmas Carol, which was a musical based on the Charles Dickens well-known book. It was held at St. Lawrence's Church and, without question, it fulfilled all expectations. It was different to a traditional carol service, deliberately so, and it was very well done and very well received. Finally, I turned to two events which I attended out of town. Both were traditional civic carol services with a succession of carols and Bible readings. One was an afternoon service at St. Michael and St. Wolfad's, that's just the one church at Stone. And the other was an evening candlelit service at St. Giles Church in Newcastle. Although they differed in their presentation, both equally refreshed the traditional Christmas message which lies behind the joyous celebrations of the festive time. They both brought that message freshly to mind. That brings us to the end of December's mayoral activities and the beginning of another year. A mayoral activity in the new year was one on Friday last, when I went, as did several other people, including a number of former mayors from Biddulph, to the funeral of the late Barry Birch. Yes, Barry Birch, last year's Leek Town Mayor, who unfortunately died just before Christmas. Friday, coincidentally, would have been his birthday, and I would say that St. Edward's Church in Leek, I would say, was filled to capacity. Obviously, a well-known and popular figure. So that completes my mayoral report for now. Thank you. The item that I've been asked to mention is on behalf of Councillor Parks. He's concerned, he'd still like some more takers, please, for his Burns Night and Scottish Ceilidh on Saturday the 24th of January in the town hall here. Ticket prices are £20. Kilts can be worn. Dancing to a live Ceilidh band, pie and pea supper, Scottish piper, fully licensed bar. So that's the mention. Yes, please, Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you want to say thanks for reading that out for Councillor Parks? He's unfortunately not very well tonight. Couldn't be here. If you haven't bought your tickets, councillors, support them. It's going to be a good night, and it's for Biddulph charities. And the bonus is you get to see Councillor Garvey in a kilt. The drawback is you won't get to see me in a kilt. Well, come along. It will be a good night. The food's going to be good. Pipe is excellent. We've used him before. Jonathan Alec, who's done piping for us before. He's very, very good, and the Ceilidh band are good. So try and support it if you can. We should support our chairman, and I have to say, frankly, I'm a little bit disappointed with the sporty side from the league. So let's show him up and let's support him and make it a good event and raise some money for his charities. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for reading it out.
Thank you.
I hope you're going to come, by the way.
I haven't got a kilt, lad.
I just say,
Sold more tickets.
just maybe more. Just don't have to.
Yes. So the deputy mayor has some contribution to make, please.
Yeah, just very, very briefly, as obviously our mayor has been very busy in the December period, and there was only one event that he couldn't attend in person, so I stepped in as deputy, and that was the Road Hall Silver Band's Christmas concert. And just one of the comments I wanted to make, feedback that I had from the band on the night, and they expressed a kind of that Biddulph was turning into their second home, that they really enjoyed coming to Biddulph, that the reception that they get in Biddulph and the attendance that they get in Biddulph is always fantastic, and the audiences are great, and they consider it their second home, and are just pleased to keep doing events in Biddulph, which I think is absolutely fantastic, because they do draw in a great crowd to the town hall. So I was really pleased to stand and say a few words at that. And just, even though the Christmas lights switched on and the family Christmas party and all the other events have already been touched on, I just wanted to pass on my heartfelt thanks to the team, to the volunteers, to the councillors who stepped in and helped for those events, because the passion and the dedication just shone through, and the feedback has been absolutely fantastic from everyone that attended those events. So thank you to the councillors in here that volunteered, and also to our team.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. That concludes item 72. Moving on now to item 73, to receive an update in relation to the installation of flags on county council property. I turn to our Chief Officer.
Thank you. So at the last meeting in November, you received the update that we had received from Councillor Ian Cooper. And by way of an update, you didn't feel that had actually answered all of the questions that we'd asked. So I was tasked with writing back to Councillor Cooper. Councillor Cooper then was replaced by Councillor Murray. And so I wrote to Councillor Murray as the new acting leader of the county council, and asked very particularly 4 questions. So I said, for the avoidance of doubt, can the county council confirm whether 1, permission is required to affix flags to county council lighting columns? Number 2, if so, whether permission was sought and granted in this instance? Whether any risk assessment or public liability insurance is required or held, and whether the Highway Authority considers the current flags to be authorised or simply tolerated unless deemed unsafe. And at this point, I haven't yet received a response to that. Councillor Garvey.
Yes, Councillor Garvey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try and keep this very brief, because I have a feeling this is going to come up time and time again at this meeting, as we clearly have no response at all from our county councillors, from the leader. It's been 3 months since this council first wrote requesting clarification of the legality of the flags raised on the Biddulph bypass, since which time further flags have been illegally raised. During that time, the cheap and poorly secured flags have become increasingly forlorn and tatty. It's been disappointing that the lack of any meaningful response from either the leadership of the council or from the officers of the council. The only response we have had from Councillor Cooper clearly failed to answer any of our very specific questions, as the Chief Officer has mentioned, regarding whether permission was sought or given in advance of the action, and basically presented a flat refusal to take these flags down. Obviously, since that time, we know what has befallen Councillor Cooper, having been expelled from Reform UK Limited for failing to declare a social media account on which he posted racist comments. Interestingly enough, it wasn't the posting, but the failure to disclose that caused his downfall. So we have also seen 2 further Reform UK Limited councillors, Councillor Chris Large and Councillor Peter Mason, linked to similarly racist social media content. It's disappointing that we're getting no response from the county council. I think we need to pursue this vigorously, because it is of significant concern to the majority of Biddulph residents. They're unhappy about the message that this is sending to the wider population of visitors to our towns, to what sort of town this Biddulph is. I think it's interesting that Councillor Mason, who is the portfolio holder for highways and therefore the councillor responsible for the assets upon which these flags have been illegally attached, has sought to distance himself from the racist comments he made, he admits to having made prior to having been elected. And so perhaps now he's a reformed racist. And therefore, I would suggest if we have no response from the leader or the chief executive, then we pursue this with Councillor Mason himself. We suggest that we address our request to him, and that on behalf of the majority of the residents of Biddulph, if he truly wants to demonstrate his contrition about his past comments, then perhaps rather than words, he should give us actions. He should show us that he means what he says, and that he should remove all the illegally raised flags from the lampposts and road signs in our town. That would be my proposal. Beyond this, if we do not receive any comment from the chief executive or the new leader, that we pursue it also with the portfolio holder. Thank you.
May I call on the Deputy Mayor for this next, please?
Yeah, just a comment on this piece in the agenda. I think it's really important we stick to the agenda point. I think it's really important that we do so in a manner befitting of the council and not be using what some might call inflammatory language. I think we need to pull it back towards the agenda.
Thank you. Councillor Yates.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think really we should send that letter to the chief executive, because at the end of the day, a lot of the points which have been raised are operational points, especially with regard to commissions and health and safety aspects and public liability insurance aspects. And dare I say, if it is council policy that these things, what kind of maintenance programme are they putting in to ensure that the ones which are now hanging off trees are suitably addressed? Just a comment, you know, being heavily involved at the district council and obviously being a reasonably medium-term councillor here, politicians steer and, you know, create policy ideas which are put forward and enacted. So I think in this instance, where we are asking very, very technical questions, then the chief executive should be the one which is charged with the target. By all means, copy in the leader, but I haven't seen any minuted policy document which would suggest a political steer to say that those flags are acceptable. Therefore, we should be channeling our efforts to get these, what would appear to, in the absence of any obvious written permission, which we haven't heard, get these illegal and getting to the stage dangerous and shoddy flags removed.
Councillor Jones, did you want to speak?
Yeah, just quickly, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Yeah, and wouldn't it be nice to know what our local elected representatives say on this? The silence has been deafening from both of them. You know, and they were elected by the people of Biddulph. I think the people of Biddulph deserve to know what their take on this is. And it'd be nice if they came along and told us, along with a lot of other things. I was going to say earlier on, really, I don't care whether they come here, as long as they talk to me. And neither of them are talking to me. And I suspect they're not talking to anybody else either. That's the main issue. Not the fact that they don't come here for council, the fact that they're just not acknowledging emails at all. They're all swanning about a bit more today, claiming credit for some pavement repairs that I've been badgering them on since before they were, well, just before they were elected. Councillor Yates will tell you, I was badgering him, and had he been re-elected, it would have been a long time ago. We seem to be able to find time for that, to get the pictures put on Facebook or wherever it is. I don't do it myself. But they can't find time to come here, and I think it's disgraceful. And I would really like to know what their take on the flags is, because as Councillor Garvey says, whatever you politics, they're starting to look really because they fall into bits, and we knew they would because they're cheap things. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Garvey.
I can, Mr. Mayor, just to come back on this, because the point that Councillor Yates made in the very first motion that we passed here, it was specific to write to both the chief executive, the leader. The chief executive has also been deafening in his absence of any comment on this. So I think that has already been raised, and I think should continue to be pursued. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, I think it's the issue with the chief executive that really concerns me, because I'm saying the chief executive should be covered by some code of conduct in sort of a timely response to correspondence. And I don't know, but perhaps one of our officers could leaf through something and find out what is the chief executive's legal position in responding to a sizable £20,000 population of his county that he is totally. We haven't even had a holding letter or a holding note saying we'll get back to you. I need to investigate this further. So to me, it's really, and I can understand his position. His political masters are standing over him saying we want the facts. So he's in a difficult position. There was another county council that actually the chief executive sort of said we haven't got a policy for this, so you can't do it. So, that lady had sort of got a bit of woomph about it to stand up to a political master. So could we actually just have a quick look, see if there is anything, and perhaps fire an email out if there is? And if there is something that he should have responded to, is there any redress for us as a town council to say that the chief executive is not doing his duty as he should? Thank you.
Thank you. So there's been quite a number of suggestions. One, to address a particular elected member of the county council. Others to concentrate more on the chief exec. Yet another suggestion that the chief exec and the leader, the political leader of the council, should be simultaneously addressed with communications. So what do you wish to carry forward as a proposal then from those varying approaches?
Can I propose that the chief officer continues with trying to get the information and escalates as appropriate?
You've not mentioned specifically the recipients of the inquiry.
All appropriate recipients, i.e. the chief executive and the leader of Staffordshire Council as before. And portfolio holder.
Thank you. Councillor Yates, please.
Yes, if I could propose a slight, because this issue about is it really the leader or any particular cabinet member on his word or potential whim that these are acceptable, when there's pertinent questions and very professional questions which are being raised to do with liability insurance, to do with health and safety, to do with approvals, to do with, if those boxes are ticked, not being funny and looking at the state of them, ongoing maintenance. I think we should request in clear, simple, yes or no language, is there a written and cabinet stroke council approved policy, whether it's an IED signed off by an individual cabinet member or whatever, which supports the continued flying of these flags, which is a relatively straightforward thing. And if there is, can we have a copy of it, please? If there isn't, then get them down and do the job.
So would you suggest then, Councillor, that the chief officer writes specifically to the chief executive to copies in these other people?
Copies in this month's leader.
This month's and portfolio.
Is Councillor Smith happy to amend her proposal to include that? Okay, fine. You need a second.
Councillor Garvey?
Happy to second that amended proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have a vote on that proposal then, please?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. We now move to number 75 on the agenda.
74.
So sorry, 74. Oh yes, my word rushing ahead again. 74. To note, it says here. This is the agenda item. It's initially to note. Communication received in relation to local government reorganisation. Now, part of the pack, there is, I think, a letter from a councillor in Leek and a covering letter, and also a communication that person has made with the Prime Minister. So with that in mind, yes, councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The letter from Mark Revell, it's on Staffordshire Moreland's, using Staffordshire Moreland's email address. About 4 lines at the bottom, it says that I invite you to consider signing my letter on behalf of your parish council. I think the first thing that we need to do is decide whether this town council wants to sign this letter. That needs to be the first decision we make. So I would like to call for a vote on whether this town council wishes to actually do that. And if somebody would second it, that'd be very good.
Well, councillor Ward. There's a second for that. So the proposal, once again, please, is
whether this town council wishes to, what's the word he uses? Consider signing my letter. Whether we do or we don't. So it's a yes or no question as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, collectively as a council.
As a council.
So, are we ready to take a vote or?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'll speak first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically, as far as I'm concerned, I disagree with the local government reorganisation. I agree that the best proposal that's been put forward for Staffordshire Moorlands is the one that the council has put forward. But as far as the town council signing the letter, basically, I think it's up to the individual councils whether if a councillor wants to sign it, let him sign it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. So as far as, I mean, Kevin's sort of saying, we as a town council don't sign it, fine. But basically, each individual town councillor, if he wants to, can sign it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Basically, that is my view anyway.
Thank you. Councillor Jones?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'm sort of along the same lines as Councillor Hawley, really. There's no compunction in this letter from Mark DeVille. He's asking individuals to sign it.
No, he's asking the parish council, Jay.
I don't think that...
It does, it says. Yeah, it does. I invite you to consider
there's no
on behalf of your parish council.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, but it does. You're saying something that's not correct.
Where does it say that? You say it's a block. It's a block. It says, these councillors. It doesn't say Biddulph Town Council or anything like that. It says, do you want to consider signing my letter? And that's the councillors, yeah. Well, if you want to sign it, like Councillor always says, sign it. All Mark DeVille is doing here is trying to get political capital out of this. I fully support what the SMDC have proposed. I really, option D is the best option. I have to agree with Mark DeVille. I don't want any change. I think what we've got works really well. I don't know why they're messing about with it. But if we've got to do something, because if you don't, I said this at league, it's like trying to hold back the tide. You're just going to end up drowning. You've got to put in a reasonable proposal so that the things will work in the future. No one wants it. I think most people didn't really want it. And what annoys me more about Mark DeVille is the fact that he was on the working group that came up with the proposal that League came up with. He was on the working group, and it was unanimously voted for in the working group that that's what we would do. And then in the next breath, he's saying, no, and it's all wrong, and we've got to stop it, and all this sort of stuff. It's just trying to get, they know it's going to happen, but they're just going to say, well, it's our fault. If it doesn't work, wasn't us. That's all this is about. I think for us to have a proposal tonight, whether we sign it, I think we should just note we've received it and flaming well ignore it, quite frankly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Just as a point of information, Councillor DeVille is asking in his covering email to invite you to consider signing my letter on behalf of your parish council, and please indicate if you wish to endorse my letter by the 21st of January. So he is asking for a parish response from the town council. So do you think we need to take a position on that?
Excuse me, please.
That's the way you read that. I think that's to individual members.
May I just get clarification here, please? You mentioned...
Either way, I'm not signing it.
You mentioned a covering email, Deputy.
Yes, need to be cut.
Is that this that's printed out here?
Yes.
Right. So where is it that you...
Point of clarification, just say, I invite you to consider signing my letter on behalf of your parish
council. Yes. Well, I would have said that.
That's odd on behalf.
I would say that he's looking there for a parish council response.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, I would think that's, to me, fairly clear. And as such, if we feel that it's appropriate to make a parish council response, vote yes, and if not, vote no, as suggested by Councillor Jackson some while ago. Councillor Yates again, please.
Yeah, it's just really a clarification for information. If anybody is minded to individually as a councillor to want to sign this letter, I suggest you go back to Councillor DeVille, the esteemed leader of the opposition and Staffs Moors, and ask him to spell the Prime Minister's name properly before you send it.
Thank you.
Well spotted that.
And then doing this, and if I could just add a little bit more, it would still be councillors' right as an individual to respond as they felt fit, but it's a collective response that we'll be voting on, I would suggest, in a few minutes. So who else to speak, please? Yes, please, Councillor Retford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had some notes on the letter. I must admit I found the letter quite strange. A number of points are pointed out as though they're fact and opinions, and rather than being fact, and there's no way that some of the opinions expressed in there have been verified in any quick sense. Not heard of anybody holding a referendum on whether they want wouldn't reorganisation or not. So I have no idea how many people for it, how many people are against it. Echo the sentiments of a number of speakers already. If it's not broken, why fix it? If the system has worked, it may cause confusion at times for people to know which particular authority does what, granted, but there's that question of how we communicate with the electorate rather than needing to centralise everything from one central place all the time. Also, fairly early stage of this, we decided as a town council that we weren't going to comment on the proposals we were coming forward unless we were specifically asked to comment on them. And because we're simply here in our major focus, which I think has absolutely been the correct one, is to think very carefully about what extra powers, if any, or extra responsibilities, if any, we would like to take on as a parish council. And I think we should concentrate on that.
Well said, John.
Rather than going down this red herring, which is what it is. When he says, oh, this is not political, it's one of the most political things I've said. I'll just leave it at that, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Powell, sorry. Sorry, didn't see you earlier.
Thank you. This letter is a bit of a dog's dinner, I would suggest. I agree entirely with what Councillor Redfern has just said. It is one of the most political things that you'll read on this. And the reason it's one of the political things, it's clearly linked to the Conservative No to Stoke campaign, which has been toxic, divisive, and based on misinformation, and I'll be quite frank, lies. Some of the information that's been put out by the Conservatives as part of the, I take personally, honest, I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, was born there, I grew there, worked most career in Stoke in some way. Yeah, I take a lot of what they've said personal. I mean, the letter itself, its credibility falls in the very first line, with the wonderful spelling of the Prime Minister's name. But as Councillor Redfern said, who knows whether the majority of people don't support local government reorganisation? For that statement to be a fact, Councillor DeVille would have had to have a conversation with over 550,000 people across Staffordshire and Staffordshire Moorlands. So, and then, we go on about the City Council's financial liabilities further down and whatever. Councillor DeVille and his colleagues have been part of the working group that have had the facts spelt out to them, but they don't want to hear about the facts. They won't want to hear about what's going to win them votes. Now, what's interesting, a couple of years' time when it's less than a couple of years now, when the shadow election to the new unitary authority is held, these people are so principled, of course, they won't be standing for election to it, will they? See. But it does call for a parish council response. I think what it is, John, they very carefully worded it.
That's what I say. It's a bit ambiguous.
They're trying to harness people to sign it on. Individual councillors can sign it as individuals, but not on behalf of their parish council. That's up for us effectively to decide. But as far as I'm concerned, Councillor DeVille's letter is what it is. Fine. He can send it to the Prime Minister as written, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm sure it'll end up perhaps somewhere in a shredder or something like that.
Thank you. So, is it back once again? It's Councillor Jackson's motion. Do you want me to repeat it? Yes, please. That is the key issue.
I think the issue is whether this council supports this letter or not. If it supports this letter, we take a vote and vote yes, we do, and we send the letter on behalf of the town council. If not, we don't, but that's not stopping any individual writing individually in support of the letter. But just do not put that you're acting on behalf of Biddulph Town Council, that's all. So it's a simple vote, yes or no, do we support it or do we not?
Thank you. Now, Councillor Garvey-Biffy, we mustn't lose sight of what Councillor Jackson reminded us about the motion.
Thank you. I want to actually just pick on anything. Councillor Redford made a very good point in terms of some time ago, we as town council, because the town council isn't impacted by local government organisation, it is the two tiers above us that are impacted. We made a conscious decision that we would not take an active part in promoting it. We would look at what was coming in our direction potentially and make decisions on that basis. Must also be absolutely clear that this letter has no official standing. It's come from an individual who happens to be the leader of the Staffordshire Moorlands Conservative group at the district council. It's not a Staffordshire Moorlands letter. So we must be aware that it is simply a letter that's been sent to us requesting that signature. I think Councillor Jackson's absolutely right. If we need to take a vote on this, that we are not going to collectively sign this, then that is the right thing to do. But we need to be aware of what we are talking about. This is simply a political tool for a group of people who could have made this point 12 months ago if they were vehemently opposed to local government reorganisation when this was announced in the white paper in December 2024. They could have made a point then and written this letter when it might have actually had some impact a year ago.
Keep it to the point here, please, of what we're going to, the proposal that's been put forward now. Please don't let lose sight of that with this other matter.
Yes, the proposal from Councillor Jackson is that whether we're going to sort of sign it as a group or not, and I second that proposal. Although Councillor Redford's already done that. So.
Right, so it's proposed and it's seconded. So now we come to the vote.
Just to be clear, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
It's proposed and seconded that we don't sign it.
No. You can vote yea or nay.
Yes as we sign it, no as we don't sign it.
Yeah.
If 10 of us vote yes and 9 of us vote no, then we sign it. It's a simple vote.
It's like shoots of council on motion.
It's like it says.
Yes. So a clarification suggested by the chief officer here, please. Does the motion be, does the town council wish to sign this letter? Yes or no? No. Yes.
Can I just make a point? If Biddulph Town Council, we signed this letter, who was actually going to sign it on behalf of Biddulph Town Council?
Mayor.
And he would sign it.
The mayor.
The mayor, but basically I am signing it on behalf, so effectively, if he signs it, then we all sign it.
Will he be signing?
Well, I mean, the point I was trying to make is that effectively, basically, we shouldn't be in a position where, because we could end up with a majority of one, therefore we sign it. And what I'm saying is that effectively, we shouldn't have anything, as far as I'm concerned, even voting on this. We just leave it to each individual councillor. If he wants to sign it, he signs it, and if he doesn't, he doesn't.
If that individual councillor signed it on behalf of the Biddulph Town Council, they could do.
He signed it on behalf of his ward. He put it down. I would put down my name.
You might do, but
Look, we think I've got a proposal. We're going in, as soon as we mention this motion, to get, very verbose.
I move the motion be put.
Lose sight of it before we can
Move the motion be put.
Yeah, come on.
Sorry.
It's the vote.
The vote is, isn't it, does the town council wish to reply to this?
No, wish to.
No, wish to sign the letter, yes or no?
yes.
So,
All in favour of yes, show. That's it.
yes, now, those in favour of yes, sign the letter, please show your hands.
No.
Those in favour of no, we do not sign the letter. And abstentions, please. 1, 2.
Please, we're not getting into this.
Man, move on.
Really did muddy the water there, didn't you?
No, I thought my thank you very much. It's like, yeah.
Was right.
No, that was 54, wasn't it?
No, but I don't either.
Yes. Now, the next item, ladies and gentlemen, 75. Item which was referred from the Finance Strategy and Management Committee to confirm that the Town Council will support councillors with potential action if they receive abuse on social media. So, was it Councillor Wood that mentioned this in the past?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it was obviously, it's in this current climate of politics, and it's an important item that we should be, getting behind, because not only have we've got a responsibility for the well-being of our employees and councillors, we've got a moral responsibility in terms of councillors, in terms of if they are getting online abuse, and I'm certainly aware, as I'm sure other councillors are, that certain members of our council have suffered online abuse. And I think in terms of what the motion is saying is we should morally, professionally and financially support councillors if they are suffering this type of abuse. And therefore it did come from the finance committee, the Finance Strategy and Management Committee. But this is to say, this is what we should do as a local authority, as a town council. We have an obligation to support our councillors to make sure they're not abused to a point where, where it could affect people's health and whatever on social media. And there is support there for councillors to access that.
Councillor Jones, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Seconded, no brainer, take the vote.
Right, that's it. Does that Councillor Hawley wishes to speak?
I'm good, actually.
Is there anyone else that wishes to add to that? So, so the motion is that we, sorry, Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, just to start off, Councillor Woodson, if anybody has got any views, please speak to us, the Chief Officer, myself, or Councillor Wood, invite if you wish to, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.
So the motion is that we support these people if they're experiencing, by whatever means, social media abuse. Yes. So have we been proposed and seconded? Seconded.
Councillor Jones.
Good. So in which case we'll vote, please. Those in favour of the support. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. 77. Oh, 76. To confirm the outcome of recent recruitment activities. Now, did you, Councillor Rogers, say you wish to speak on this one?
Yes, it's well, Council was at the rear, but I thought she mainly regarding Council in many ways. That's why I asked the big 76 forward to allow the presentation began the meeting. Thank you.
Right, thank you for that.
So can we have a proposal and a seconder to confirm that recruitment position, please? Because town council has to confirm recruitment.
Yes, right. Councillor Garvey, opposed. Councillor Yates, don't mind.
Councillor Garvey, Councillor Jones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to
So
vote?
those in favour of the engagement, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Duly carried. Thank you. Oh, that was 76. 77, standing agenda items, A, B and C. So, Chief Officer.
Yeah, I'll just give some brief updates here. So I think you're aware that there is a strengthening clerks meeting within Staffordshire Moorlands, which is facilitated by the District Council. And each time I go to one of those, there are more clerks engaging with that, which is really positive. And we were invited to attend a meeting last Tuesday, at which the Chief Exec of Staffs Moorlands gave quite a lengthy presentation and update on local government reorganisation. As part of that, there was a brief discussion about the emerging community asset transfer arrangements. So in terms of our kind of town council assets as they are now or potentially could be, I think as soon as everybody is available, we need to arrange for another local government reorganisation and devolution working group here to kind of get to grips with that policy if we've got eyes on it and to try and understand whether we want to kind of go through that formal route now to consider community asset transfer. So that was a step forward as regards that kind of work, because we hadn't got a clear way in which we could make our intentions known as regards some of these assets. So that was very positive.
Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just on the back of what the Chief Clerk has just said, it's important if we are identifying assets within our town that are currently under the control of SMDC, that we move quickly, because we're 2.5 years, I think, away from the local government reorganisation, and what we need to do, if we're going to leave legacy projects from the district, we need to get them in place and the ducks in a row. So yeah, it's important we do that quickly.
Good point. Thank you. Councillor Darby.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to emphasise the point that Councillor Wood's making, in reality, we've probably got only till September, October of this year at the latest to actually register those interests, because at that point, once the government has made the decision on what the path forward will be, any of the opportunities will be closed off. Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Proudlow.
Thank you. Just to follow up on Councillor Wood and Councillor Garvey said, although yeah, I think late summer is probably complete drop dead. I think what's important is that decisions are made at the District Council before late summer, because you'll still be able to follow through on these things as long as there's clear evidence that it's something that's been underway, rather than oh, we're just doing it now because we think we should do. So I think both right. We need to sort of get decisions made quickly. We need to establish our position here quickly to enable the district to make those decisions. Yeah. So yeah, I think I concur.
Thank you. So it would appear the established wisdom is speed is of the essence.
Yeah.
Thank you. So B is a health and safety activities update. Just a couple of points really. The team are having fire training with the health and safety advisor next Wednesday. We've done that for a couple of years. We do lots of online training. Space session on Wednesday, so that will update us and just keep that information in our heads. And we are putting through a kind of update tomorrow on potentially how we might manage our assets and the kind of health and safety requirements around those differently, with an extension potentially to our finance package. So we'll be able to report back a little more after that. Okay. C is to receive an update on Build Works Together projects. We had a meeting last week. As ever, it was very positive. There were lots of updates as we went around the room. There are two items in particular that the group asked us to look at as we move forward. One in relation to safeguarding within public buildings and how we share information with our colleagues. We're all kind of aware of different people within the town that might pose a risk to those who are working face to face with customers. But actually how we share that information, we've talked about some different ways forward with that. So we'll put together some ideas and share those with you. We've also, excuse me, Councillor Smith and I got our heads together at the meeting last week to talk about potential sessions where we support people within the community to be prepared for whatever might come. So whether that would be a young person who is going to leave school and actually doesn't know about credit cards and mortgages and how to budget when they have their first salary potentially, or whether that's older people and they actually haven't got a will or haven't got the lasting power of attorney. We talked about there being a kind of suite of sort of preparedness sessions, albeit I don't think we'll call it that when we family works up. But we mentioned that at the Build Works Together session, and that created quite a lot of enthusiasm with people who, you know, some of whom are working with individuals in the town who absolutely have no idea about budgeting and need that kind of support, potentially the stuff that they don't get a chance to cover in schools or is in depth at schools, and those who are kind of a bit older potentially who need that other advice as well. So we're going to work up some sessions with that. Councillor Yates has potentially agreed to put some of his last year's mayoral funds to that if there's a cost, but we'll come back again with some ideas about how we can bring that forward as well.
Thank you for updating us on that. Was clear. Item 78 is to receive an update on outside body meetings attended since our last meeting here in November. And so if you've been to any of these, please say Biddlefin Blue, the Moorlands Assembly, I'll still go through Staffordshire Parish Councils, Councillor Rogers. Do you have any?
Yes. On 24th of November last year, Chief Officer and myself went to the Staffordshire Parish Council Association's AGM, which is in a new format this time. It was held in Town Hall, very well attended. Upstairs there was lots of organisation promoting what they can do and offer throughout councils. Then later in the day there was lots of speakers downstairs giving very nice presentations, and our chief officer was one of them to give a big presentation for us. Thank you very much. It was on a new format. It seems to work quite well. Not to say anything on that sort, Chief Officer.
I think it's been taken very positively by those that attended. I think they're going to do something similar. The AGMs potentially are a bit dry, aren't they? But actually, when you've got so many people from different councils in a room, I think it was a useful opportunity to for them to receive all sorts of updates and presentations. So it worked pretty well, I think.
But in the future, just open to members, anybody who'd like to can attend as well if they wish to.
Yeah,
So it was a very busy day, really. We brought a lot of paperwork and ideas back, which we can go through if you wish to, about all the agendas, etc., and all the paperwork. It was a well worthwhile day, a long day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for that report too. The Moorlands Partnership Board. Councillor Yates?
Yes, I'm on that board. There's a couple of things that related to Biddulph on there. One was an application, long-standing application for Christchurch and Biddulph Moor, but it was tied into a Heritage Lottery Fund application, which has been unsuccessful. So I think they're in the process of applying for alternative trusts with decisions due in November and December. So that will be revisited at the next meeting of the Moorlands Partnership Board. Hopefully they're successful with that funding, which would be match funding against that. An offer has been put in association with the dangerous, for want of a better term, headstones at Biddle Churchyard. So that was put in successfully. And there was conversations around the railings at the War Memorial, and there was quite a debate about ownership and insurance and all those kind of things, and who's caused the damage. Very complicated, but again, that was received positively as well. So from Biddle's point of view, we certainly getting a little bit of traction with the partnership board. So long may it continue.
Thank you. Next, the Twinning Association. Well, yours truly is the person to go to these. And on Wednesday, the 12th of November, I did attend their AGM downstairs here. And really, things seemed to go very smoothly. I think there was general concern they could do with more prominence, though. You know, the Twinning Association has been going for many years now and doing a good job, but perhaps its profile is not what it was, as prominent as what it was. And also, the finances are not bad, but once again, could be a bit better. So one thing that's come out of this is that on Saturday, the 7th of February, we're going to have I believe it's called an Italian Day, where people can put their Italian cooking skills or acquire some Italian cooking skills. And this is an event, if you like, the first such event under this policy of raising the profile of the Twinning Association. And it's on the 7th of February. Now, are there any members of staff who can fill in any more details than I can?
I pinged a quick email around end of last week that had come from Chris Perkins to say they've got a few spaces left if you'd like to make fresh pasta and sauce. So if you do, I can pass your information on. There's not a significant cost to that, but obviously the cost of that goes towards kind of future twinning projects. So I've shared that information already.
Thank you. And this presumably will be the first initiative of several that we may see during the year to help promote their image or their prominence. Thank you. And finally, fair trade, please. Has anyone anything to report on fair trade? No. Thank you. We now turn to item 79, accounts and finance. The principal list, section A, is before you. Are there any points or questions that arise, please, from the list? Okay. Councillor Wright.
Just very quick, Mr. Mayor, just as we agreed in November, the accounts were paid in December, given that you got to just make sure we agreed with everything. Town accounts did carry on, even though they didn't have meetings, but the payments for December were made, which the January accounts haven't been paid so far. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give you a moment just to have a look through. Councillor Yates.
Yes, as you can expect, I'm always concerned about the energy costs, especially with regards to running this town hall. And it's something we have discussed before, and noting with Octopus. I don't know whether you've got an Octopus app that shows you the monthly bar charts and things. I would like a comparison over the past 3 years. I think if we haven't got an app, if you can possibly download an app, it gives you that information without too much archive searching, because I'd like to see the direction of travel. I mean, it's one of those things, we're talking about LGR, we're talking about opportunities for the town council to take on more. I mean, one of the things which we've got to do is to find the appropriate grant assistance to future-proof these buildings, because I am obviously alarmed at the amount of money we justifiably, we spend on energy. It's a big building, it's a 1960s building. Energy costs weren't considered as a problem, but it is a problem. It's something which I can say we're acutely aware of. It's Staffordshire Moorlands, and we're constantly looking at options to see where we can. But I think it's pertinent to have that background information to put more oomph to, for want of a better term.
That be appropriate at the next finance?
Yeah. Hopefully there's not hopefully there's not a lot of work involved if that data is just readily available. But it does help. Figures helps and statistics help to focus the minds across multiple channels, shall we say.
So everyone had a chance to have a look through the items then in section A and make comments as they feel.
Propose it, Chair. Propose it.
Proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Second.
And seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Yates.
All in favour?
Yes. All in favour of acceptance of section A? Thank you. We now turn to the supplementary list, which is section B. And can I say, please, along the lines that I said earlier on in the meeting, I actually am a recipient of mayoral travel expenses shown in section B, and therefore have an interest. Looking at section B, are there any questions arising? Yes, may I have a proposal? Councillor Garvey, please. The seconder, Councillor Redfern. Those in favour of acceptance of the section B supplementary list? That's yes. Yes, thank you.
His meeting.
Is that it now? Right. I'm pleased to declare the meeting closed 7:42. Thank you.
You're on again.
I know. Yeah.